Hi and welcome. This tutorial will explain how you can connect your existing telephony infrastructure with Microsoft Teams using direct routing. In the first step, the reseller will set up the customer account. Following this, the admin from the customer's Microsoft Teams domain will grant permissions to the direct routing connector after creating an enterprise account. To start, the reseller will log into the secure service interface. The website is service.connecttoteams.com using the credentials provided by Novum Networks. Once the reseller is in, he can see the existing list of the enterprise customers under Manage Enterprise, then Dashboard Reseller. To add a new enterprise, click on Add Enterprise from the left-hand side menu. Then, on this page, enter the name of the enterprise. The enterprise email ID is the email address of the Microsoft administrator who manages this customer account. Leave the user limit blank. The SBC region in most cases will be the AU East SBC instance. If the customer has hosted users, then choose the PBX service. If it is a SIP trunk, then choose the second option. However, you can configure both the SIP trunk and hosted users in the same account as well. For the purpose of this video, we will configure a hosted user account. Select BroadWorks from the list of the type of PBX. Now the first step for the reseller to create the account is complete. The administrator will now receive an email with instructions to create an enterprise account. Once the enterprise takes action, these red indications will turn green. We will come back and see the intermediate status while the customer configures their account. Okay, so let's check the email that the administrator has received. Here is the email and it has an invitation code that we will copy and a complete button that we will click to move next. Besides, it contains some handy information on what is required before the customer creates the account, such as licensing requirements, domain name, etc. This is where the enterprise administrator has to grant permissions to the teammate EPP. The administrator needs to provide consent on behalf of the organization. Once the permissions are accepted, the system will take you to the enterprise portal. Here is the empty dashboard that the user will see for the first time. The first step in the portal is to check the licenses and set up the direct route. So click on Direct Routing Management and then Direct Routing from left-hand side menu. So the only available licenses are Microsoft 365 Business, and these are not enough to set up direct routing. So I just purchased the E5 Enterprise Premium and assigned it to all users in the organization. Now the interface automatically detects the E5. It will be available immediately. These licenses will enable us to set up the direct route, so let's move forward. The administrator will select AU East from the available gateways, also copy and paste the invitation code from the email, and finally choose the domain that has Teams users. It will take a while to validate, then click Complete Direct Routing. It may take anywhere from a minute to up to a few hours for Microsoft to complete the direct routing. While direct routing setup is in progress, let's look at what the reseller would see now. The reseller dashboard is now showing a successful domain verification and the current status of the enterprise. Okay, the direct routing seems completed now, and I was lucky enough and Microsoft finished it under 15 minutes. You can see the domain validated, calling enabled, and the domain name configured for direct routing. The domain name will be different for every created route, but will be something similar to this name here. Let's check what is done in the background from the Microsoft Teams admin dashboard. Here, a Do Not Delete user will be automatically created to manage direct routing related tasks. The voice routes policies are created by PowerShell in the background. Let's have a quick look at the reseller portal now and see the status. The account is all set now and the first step is complete. We have two more steps. The third step to set up the PBX SIP account with BroadWorks, and the last step, set up individual users. These steps can be performed by either the reseller or the customer. In this video, I will use the customer account to perform these steps. But again, I say that it can also be done in the same way by the reseller. At first, let's set up the PBX SIP account. Here we need to select the PBX type, which is Broadworks in our case. Transport mode should be UDP. Enter the PBX domain from the SIP provider. It may be different from the customer's Microsoft domain. Assign a name as what you want to call this location. Keep the PBX DNS lookup type as host, PBX SIP domain proxy as sbctm.novumnetworks.com.au, and SIP proxy port as 9066. There is no need to make any changes in the advanced settings. You should leave it as it is. This is out of context of the setup video. Save the settings, and this concludes the Broadworks SIP setup. Now we are all set to add users either one by one or by bulk upload. The reseller will also see the similar page that we did from the enterprise portal. As I told you earlier, it can be a reseller or the customer who can set this up. Once set up, both can edit and make changes. So let's add some users now. Go to Manage Users. As you can see, this demo account has 4 users. This information has been extracted from the Microsoft account. If you hover over the green icons here, you will see the type of license. First icon points to E5 licenses for these enterprise users which are good enough to use PSTN telephony for calls to outside of the tenant account. The second and third icon means the phone system assigned and provisioned. The last one is red as the Teams calling has not been activated on the account. It will get activated as soon as we assign a phone number and create association between the outside SIP account and the Teams. Click on Add User from the left side menu. Select the PBX location as Novum Networks. This is what we configured in the last step when we created the PBX instance. Choose the voice route. Choose a user from the drop-down menu. Let's configure Alice Baker first. Enter the SIP site credentials provided by the service provider for the user. These credentials will identify the telephone number as well as connect the user with the SIP network. Enter SIP user. The phone number will be the same as SIP user but without the 61. Enter SIP authentication ID, password, and then confirm the password. We do not need to enter any portal login information now. Keep it blank and proceed forward. Click Add User. In the background, the system will automatically provision the user. As you can see, the user has been created but is pending sync. The Sync Teams user button is only available to the customer, and if the reseller is creating users, then the customer admin has to log in and approve the user creation by clicking the Sync Teams users button. Next, refresh the dashboard page and you will see that the user has been connected to Teams. After a while, you can also see that the PBX registration has been successful. So, if the user logs in their Teams app, they will see the dial pad. Let's have a look at that now. Enter the user's email and password. Click on the Calls tab on the left bar. This is the user's phone number. In the dial pad, the users can make and receive PSTN calls. Okay, let's make a test call. And it works. I received a call in my account from Alice Baker. This is one successful account we have created, and we can keep adding more users. So let's create another user. The steps are the same as before, and this time we will configure Bob Baker. We must wait for the provisioning to complete, and once it is completed, we can click on Sync Teams Users or refresh the dashboard for the synchronization to happen. We can see that the PBX registration is successful, and we refresh the page again, and Bob Baker has been successfully configured. In the Microsoft Teams admin dashboard, Alice and Bob Baker both have phone numbers. If you look at Analytics and Reports, then Usage Reports, Here you can view the outbound calls made and calling details. Besides this, you can go to a user, for example, Alice Baker. You can look at the voice calls, and if you encounter problems with voice calls, we will ask you to take the traces from here and share it with us. Thank you for watching.